Hey guys, and welcome to Let's Click Photography. My name's Dave, and today we are talking about paper choices specifically for black and white photography. So whether you are choosing a glossy, a luster, or a matte paper to print your black and white photography on. Now, in the past, I've done videos and spoken about this subject, and I explained that given all of the many paper choices there are, it all really comes down to three main styles of paper. There are photo papers, which are glossy or luster types, or there are matte papers. And those are the three main types of paper. And everything else really becomes about finish and becomes about texture and other small artistic details. Now, I've chosen two specific images that I went out and shot quite recently. Shot these specifically for this video in black and white, and shot them with two different artistic ideas in mind. One was for quite a high contrast image, which you're seeing on the screen now, and the next shot was for a more low contrast image, which is a more overcast day. And so with both of those images, I've printed them out on the same style paper by the same manufacturer, using the manufacturer's paper profiles, and we're just going to compare the images. Now, there's a lot of science when it comes down to paper choices. There's a lot of reasons, things like the Dmax, which is a number that will tell you how black the blackest you can print onto a paper is. When it comes to glossy versus matte, there's a whole lot of science behind the reflective status and why light scatters a bit more when it comes to matte paper and why it's more direct when it comes to glossy papers, and that also affects how deep the blacks are. But for this one today, we're just going to have an optical look. I'll tell you what I can see. I'm going to show you through the camera what I can see, and hopefully you'll start to get an idea of which paper to choose for your black and white images. And first up, I want to talk very briefly about glossy paper. Now, I just printed one image on glossy paper, which is this one right here. I printed it fairly small, and that's because I'm going to discount glossy paper from this discussion. Now, as you can probably hopefully see on camera there, this glossy paper has actually got some really nice dark deep blacks, and is great for high contrast images like this, but reflectively glossy is bad. And so I'm going to discount glossy, because if you've taken the time to take a black and white image, you've gone to the time of watching this video, I'm going to guess that you are looking to mount your image on a wall. And for mounting and for putting images onto a wall, glossy is not the best option. However, that might well be the best option if you're looking to print black and white business cards or flyers, because you do get really deep, nice dark blacks on glossy paper. So now we have the same image printed on a luster paper. This is a standard premium luster, and we've got this on a matte paper, and this is a smooth matte premium paper. Now, as you can see on camera here, the luster has slight reflectiveness because technically, I mean, it's derived from a glossy paper, but if you look at the difference between glossy and luster there, the glossy paper has a direct reflection. On the luster paper, that's diffused a lot by the finish of the luster paper and is a lot less direct. But what I specifically want to talk about with these images is the finishes of the print, and what they look like to the naked eye. Now, this image was a high contrast image. I've took it as a high contrast image. I've processed it as a high contrast image. Now, upon first view, the thing that immediately jumps out is that the matte paper gives some nice dark flat blacks. The luster paper though has real pop to it that the matte paper doesn't really have. The luster paper gives a much sharper image, which is exactly what I was going for with this image. The matte gives, for want of a better term, a kind of matte effect, and that's because of the dispersion of the dots as they print. It isn't as sharp an image as on the luster. You'll also possibly be able to make out there that there is some whiter whites on the Lustre paper. The building is more defined, shape is more defined, the edges, the corners are more defined. It is a sharper image. Now when it comes to the blacks, the one thing that is important to bear in mind is that if you are in a dimly lit room, if you are hanging in an area that the image won't catch any light directly, then a matte is going to represent what optically looks like darker blacks. However, the second you introduce any kind of reflective light into it, because Lustre paper offers a more direct reflection, the blacks of the Lustre will immediately start to appear more black than the matte. Now next up we had our second image, which was of the same building on a more diffuse day. The light wasn't as harsh, and so therefore the contrast wasn't quite as wide. And so we have the two images here. We've got the Lustre, which, as you can tell by the reflection of the light to my left there, is there, and we have the matte. And on these two images, I can clearly tell you that with the lower contrast, the image works far better on the matte paper than it does on the Lustre paper. The matte quality of the paper lends itself to that low contrast, or certainly lower contrast style. The dispersion of the ink dots as they are printed lends itself to that lower contrast style. And so for lower contrast black and whites, matte paper would be the obvious choice. So the conclusion for that is if you've got high contrast, very sharp black and white image, look towards Lustre. Less contrast, less sharp black and white image, look towards matte papers. I just want to point out the difference that you can see in the colour between these two images, and that is down to, whilst using ICC profiles for the paper, I didn't softproof the images. And softproofing your images can make sure that you get precise colours and precise representation of the image that you're seeing on your digital screens, on your paper prints. And I'm going to go in depth on how to properly softproof your images using Lightroom over the next few weeks. So please do hit that subscribe button. It's completely free of charge and takes about 1 second of your time, and keep a lookout for that video. In the meantime, go and check out this video, which is all about paper qualities and includes Barita paper that might just be the one you're looking for black and white photography. Hit the like button, drop me a comment below, and hit that share button if you think this might be of use to anybody that you know. I've been Dave, and this has been Let's Click Photography. And for me, for now, ciao.